Good day, everyone. We are the Group 5 and we are assigned to discuss the Lesson 2, which has the topic Language and Education Policies in the Philippines through the Years. I am Junaisa Amahit, together with my group mates, Junailin Saripa and Rocky Ferlin. So let us first discuss the language policies that were implemented during the significant periods of our nation's history. Okay, next slide. Ano, check. So there are linguistic legacy during the Spanish occupation, American occupation, Japanese occupation, Commonwealth, and in the present day in the Philippines. So now let's discuss first the Spanish occupation, the linguistic legacy during the Spanish occupation. Next slide. So the linguistic legacy during Spanish occupation. The Spanish occupation of the Philippines, which lasted for more than 3 centuries from the 16th to the 19th century, had a profound linguistic impact on the country. Spanish colonization introduced the Spanish language and significantly influenced the development of the Filipino language as well as the cultural and social fabric of the archipelago. So the Spanish language has become a tool to spread Christianity and religion. The friars and priests were urged to learn the local dialect in order to teach people their own language, which resulted in Filipinos losing their own language. So the Spanish became the official language of the Philippines during the Spanish colonial period. It was the language used in government, administration, law, education, and the Catholic Church. The Spanish brought Catholicism to the Philippines, and with it came religious terminology and practices in the Spanish language. So many religious terms used in the context of Catholicism, such as simbahan or church, pari or priest, and santo or saint, have their origins in Spanish. So Filipinos were deprived of freedom of speech and education. Spanish teaching programs in Filipino schools are only available to the elite and privileged. So the Spanish language's influence was particularly strong among the elite, the educated class, and those in positions of power. And also, the Spanish language left a lasting impact on the Filipino vocabulary. Many Spanish loanwords were incorporated into the Filipino language, particularly in areas such as religion, food, clothing, household items, professions, and government. Examples of Spanish loanwords that are still widely used in Filipino include pizarra, libro, silya, mesa, eskwelahan, opisina, and many more. So now let's proceed to, okay, next slide po. Check. Let's proceed to the linguistic legacy during American occupation. So the American occupation of the Philippines, which began in 1898 rather, and lasted until 1946, had a significant linguistic impact on the country. English was introduced as the medium of instruction in schools and became the language of governance, law, business, and education. So the use of English as a medium of instruction in schools. and it also began as the official second language of the Philippines. So the American occupation fostered a bilingual environment with English coexisting alongside local languages. English and Filipino, based on Tagalog, became the two official languages of the Philippines. So for many years, the people of the Philippines were contented on to simply learn English and adapt to the new system. So the emphasis on English education led to a high level of English proficiency among Filipinos, particularly in urban areas and among the educated elite. English proficiency became a symbol of social status and upward mobility. So the linguistic legacy of the American occupation is still evident in the Philippines today. English remains widely spoken and understood, and serving as a lingua franca in various domains, including education, business, media, and government. So now let's proceed to the Japanese occupation. So during the Japanese occupation of the Philippines in World War II, the Japanese government attempted to promote the Japanese language and culture, but the linguistic impact was not as profound as that of Spanish or American occupation. So Philippine literature in English was put to an end and writers turned to writing in Filipino. The urgency of the implementation of teaching Tagalog and character education was reserved for Filipinos. So Japanese was used in official communication and administration by the Japanese military and government. However, its influence on the broader population and everyday language usage was limited. And also, during the Japanese occupation, some Japanese words and phrases were adapted into the Filipino language. Um, those loanwords related to administration, military terms, and daily life were incorporated. Some example include katol for Japanese form mosquito coil, and other are kaban, kamikaze, karaoke, jack and poi, and dahan-dahans. So that are the example of the loan words that Japanese had adopted by the Filipino language. So the linguistic influence of the Japanese occupation was relatively limited compared to other historical periods. And after the war, English regained its prominence as the primary foreign language in the Philippines due to American influence, while the Japanese gradually faded away as a commonly spoken language. And now let's proceed to the Commonwealth, the linguistic legacy during Commonwealth. So during the Commonwealth era in the Philippines, there were significant linguistic developments that shaped the country. The primary language policies during this period revolved around the promotion and use of English as the medium of instruction and as an official language. So English was introduced as the primary language of instruction in schools and educational institutions. And the emergence of a national language, which is Tagalog, to unite the whole country. It was taught as a subject in education courses in elementary school and secondary school. So English was um, ad- while English gained prominence, the Filipino language, which is based on Tagalog, also underwent development during the Commonwealth era. So, efforts were made to establish a standardized version of the Filipino language, incorporating elements from various Philippine languages. So, bilingualism with English and Filipino became a significant part of the linguistic landscape. So English remains widely spoken and understood, serving as a primary language in many professional and educational settings. And Filipino, as the national language, incorporates elements of English and various Philippine languages. And the last is the linguistic legacy during in the present day. Next slide, Jen. So, in the present day, the linguistic legacy of historical influences in the Philippines is reflected in the diverse and dynamic linguistic landscape of the country. So, English retains a strong presence in the Philippines and is widely spoken and understood. It is used in business, education, media, and official transactions. So, English retains a strong presence in the Philippines and it is widely spoken and understood. So English proficiency among Filipinos has made the Philippines a hub for outsourcing services and a destination for international students seeking English language education. And Filipino is the national language of the Philippines and serves as an important unifying force among the diverse linguistic groups in the country. So, Filipino, based primarily on Tagalog, is the national language of the Philippines. It serves as a symbol of national identity and unity, and it is taught in schools and used in official government communications. Filipino incorporates vocabulary and influences from various Philippine languages, reflecting the country's linguistic diversity. Apart from Filipino, various regional languages are spoken throughout the Philippines. Languages such as Cebuano, Ilocano, Hiligaynon, and Waray-Waray have sizable speaker populations. These languages often coexist alongside Filipino and English, reflecting the linguistic diversity of the country. So the linguistic legacy in the present day is a testament to the Philippines' historical interactions with different cultures and its rich tapestry of languages and dialects. It reflects the country's ongoing efforts to maintain cultural diversity while establishing a sense of national identity. So the coexistence of Filipino, English, regional languages, and global influences creates a linguistic mosaic that shapes communication and expression in the Philippines today. So now let's proceed to the language in education policies that will be discussed by Mr. Rocky Fairlin. Thank you.
So the language in education policies. So Spanish influence language policies. After the Philippine Revolution in 1896 and the eventual event of Spain in Spanish-American War in 1898, the United States took control of the Philippines socio-political context. The shift of English medium education was met with resistance from nationalists who wanted to preserve and promote Filipino culture and identity. So the language and education policies in the Philippines has undergone significant changes throughout its history, reflecting the nation's socio-political context and the influence of various languages. So the primary language involved have been Filipino, also known as Filipino. So the English and Spanish language was imposed on the native population, leading to a limited use of local languages. While in the language policies is that the American introduced English as the medium of instruction in schools. This NIF lead the marginalization of native language of Filipino and in socio-political context, the desire for independence and the need of establish a national language become central to socio-political context. Next slide, please. Strategic goal of the policy, the strategic goal of the language policy is the Philippines has been to establish a national language has presents the country's diverse linguistic heritage and fosters national unity. So this goal has evolved over time with different policies emphasizing different languages. So the domain where languages are used is Filipino or Filipino. So the official recognized as the national language, Wikang Pambansa in 1987, Filipino is the standardized form of Tagalog, one of the major Philippine language. So it is used to in government, education, and mass media and official communication. So in number two is English. So as a former American colony, English has been widely used in education and business. So it is the medium of instruction in the private schools and is often used in government and business communications. While in number three is Spanish. So although it is influence has diminished, Spanish is still spoken by some older Filipinos and is taught as foreign language in schools. So many Filipino use some words of Spanish to communicate, especially the old ones because they adapt the words that the Spanish use. Next slide, please. Next is the issues. So first is language conflict. So the language use of English and Filipino has led to a language conflict with some arguing that the excessive use of English perpetuates colonial mentality and marginalized Filipino. And number two is bilingual education. So the bilingual education is the implementation of bilingual education policies has faced changes due to the lack of communication. So in our country, some people use bilingual because many people use the word Filipino and some use the word of Spanish or English. They use two words to communicate. And the evolution of the language policies. The Philippine language policies have been shaped by its colonial history and the struggle of national identity. Prior to the American colonization, the country had a rich linguistic landscape with over 170 dialects. So in Philippines, we have 170 dialects in communication. But we have a one dialect that we Filipino understands, which is the Filipino dialect. Next slide. American influence. So in language education policies, the Philippines has undergone significant changes throughout the years, reflecting the country's socio-political context and influence of external forces, particularly the United States. So the evolution of language. The American influence on the Philippines' language policies began with the colonization in 1898. The American introduced English as the medium instruction in schools, which led the marginalized indigenous language. This policy continued even after the Philippines gained independence in 1946. Next slide, please. Language policies. So the language policy context in the Philippines is marked by the coexistence of the Philippines based on Tagalog, English, and various indigenous language. Um, so the language policies. So so in 1973 Constitution mandate the Filipino and English should be the official language of the country in 1987. So the Constitution was aimed and Filipino was renamed as Filipino. Again, with an aim to eventually replace the English as the second language. So in Philippines, the language that we commonly use is Filipino, and the second language that they said that English is our second language. Strategic goals of policy. So the primary strategic goal of the language policy is to foster national unity and identity by promoting Filipino as the national language. So, um, so in addition, the policy aims to equip Filipino with the necessary communication skills in English to compete in the global market. So preserving and promoting indigenous language is also a part of the policy, recognizing their cultural significance and contribute to linguistic diverse. Next slide. Next is domain, where language are used. Filipino is the primary language used in government, education, and official communications. So, the English is the medium of instruction in a higher education and is widely used in business and international communication. Indigenous language are mainly spoken in local communities um, and are used in cultural events, religious ceremonies, and traditional arts. And next is issues. So there are several issues around the implementation of the language policies in the Philippines. This includes the implementation challenges. So the implementation challenges is the transition from English as the primary medium of instruction to Filipino has been slow and challenging as many teachers are not proficient in Filipino. and B is diglossia. So the diglossia is coexistence of Filipino and English creates a diglossic situation where both language have distinct function leading to the marginalized. Next slide, please. So the Japanese influence. So the Philippines has a multilingual society with over 170 languages spoken. The official language are Filipino based on the Tagalog dialect and English. So the language policy in education had undergone significant changes over the years. Initially, Spanish was the official language during the colonial period, followed by English. After the Philippines gained independence from the United States, the shift to Filipino as the medium of instruction began in the 1970s with the implementation of the K-12 basic education program. Next is socio-political context. So the socio-political context has played a significant role in shaping language policies in the Philippines. The country's history of colonization by Spain and the United States, as well as the influence of various culture and linguistic groups, had led to a complex linguistic landscape. The political leaders have used language policies to assert their authority and promote national identity. Next slide, please. Next is strategic goal of the policy. The primary strategic goal of the language policy in education is to promote bilingualism and in Filipino and English. This is aimed at fostering national unity, preserving local language and cultures, and ensuring the Filipinos can efficiently communicate with the global community. So the policy also aims to improve the quality of education and enhance the employability of the Filipino citizens. Next slide. Next is domains where language are used. So the Filipino is used in various domains including official, government, transactions, mass media, and education. English is mainly used in formal settings such as business, international communication, and higher education. So the local language are predominantly spoken within communities and are essential for preserving cultural heritage. While in issues says is there are also several issues arise from the implementation of the language policies in the Philippines. One of the major challenges in the lack of proficiency in Filipino among teachers, which affect the quality of instruction. And the another issue is the dominance of English in higher education and professional setting, in which may include students from disadvantaged backgrounds who struggle with English proficiency, and in addition the preservation and promotion and indigenous language face challenges due to limited resources and recognition. So in conclusion, the language policies in education. So next slide, please. Next is the next is the post-colonial period language policy. So So the language in education policies in the Philippines during the post-colonial period has undergone significant changes and adaptations to address the nation's socio-political context, strategic goal, and various domains where languages are used. So the evaluation of these policies reflect the country's efforts to balance its linguistic heritage, national identity, and global integration. Next is socio-political context. So the Philippines gained independence from the United States in 1946 after being colonized by Spain. So the country is a melting pot of diverse ethnic groups and language with Tagalog, not called Filipino before. Being the most widely spoken, English is legacy of American colonization has also been used in an official language and medium of instruction in many educational setting. Next slide. Next is strategic goal of the policy. So one of the primary goals of the language policies in education has been to promote national unity and identity. So to achieve this is the Philippine government has aimed to establish Filipino as the primary medium of instruction and the main language of communication in the country. So this goal is in line with the country's commitment to preserve its linguistic heritage and cultural values. Next is domain where language are used. So the Philippine education system has seen a shift in the use of language across different domains. In the early post-colonial period, English was the dominant language in education, while Filipino was gradually introduced as a medium of instruction. So today, the Department of Education or the DepEd promotes the use of Filipino in all levels of education with English being taught as the second language. Next is the issues. So the implementation of language policies in the Philippine education system has faced several challenges. One of the major issues is the lack of proficiency in Filipino among teachers, which affects the quality of instruction. Next is the domain of English in various sectors such as business and technology has led to perception that it is more valuable than Filipino. So this has resulted in some parents preferring English medium schools for their children even though it may not be in the best interest of promoting national identity and linguistic heritage. The language policies in education in the Philippines during the post-colonial period have primarily aimed to foster national unity and preserve the unity linguistic heritage. The strategic. That's the end of my report. May I call on the next reporter, Miss Ginoline Sarita.
Good day, everyone. I am the next reporter, and I am assigned to the abstract part, the Philippine language policies in the past century. So, the abstract is was taken from Monji's 2019 discussion series entitled Starting Where the Children Are, a process evaluation of the mother tongue based multilingual education implementation. This is a summary of our country's language policies in the past century. So, in the year 1901, the Policy Education Act of number 74, Monolingual Education Policy. The description of this is the 1935 Constitution adopts Tagalog as the national language in 1937. Executive Order Number 263 stipulated the teaching of Tagalog as a separate subject in primary, secondary, and teachers' colleges in both public and private schools. So in 1937 to 1940, the policy of Executive Order number 134 and 263. The description of this one is the Public Department of Education, or DSC, adopts the Bilingual Education Policy, or BAP, at all levels of schooling to develop bilingual competence in the use of both Filipino and English through the teaching of both languages as subject areas and as MOI. Regional languages are used as auxiliary languages in grade 1 to 2. In year 1956, revised the Policy Revised Education Act. So the Department of Education, or DepEd, institution institution institutionalizes the child's MTS primary MOI in all subject areas from preschool until at least grade 3. So followed by Filipino and English introduced as separate subject on no earlier than grade 2. The teaching of MTS begins in grade 1. Filipino and English become the MOI from the secondary level onwards. So in the year 1973, DSE Department Order Number 9, Bilingual Education Policy. U.S. President McKinley directs the Philippine Commission to establish a system of schools where English is the basis of all public school instruction, the establishment of which is deemed essential to the success of democracy by Dewey 2014. In the year 1987, DSC's Order Number 52. The Board of National Education provides for the use of vernacular languages as medium of instruction MOI. In grade 1 and 2, the auxiliary MOI in grades 3 and 4. English is introduced as separate subject and MOI from grade 3 onwards. Tagalog, or Filipino, adopted in 1959, becomes an auxiliary MOI in grades 5 and 6. Bernardo 2004. That's it for my part. And that's the end of our report po.